Shalom, Yasharala, all praises and glory goes to our power, Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and citations unto the elect men that's feeding the sheep of Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, with this great gospel coming out the Bible, man. We're going to talk about the spirit of slavery is about to come back and on a mass level, all over the motherfucking world, man. All over the world, man. Even before the children of Israel takes over and the kingdom of heaven is established, man, you're gonna have a mass incarceration spirit about to take place in this place. Right now, you already have something called human trafficking. Human trafficking. The Lord already given these heathens, these Gentiles, and the 2/3 a taste of their own medicine. Because it's a lot of white motherfuckers being transported from throughout Eastern Europe and all these different places, from Russia and over there in the Middle East, man. They be selling these little white bitches. They be having them tied up, putting them in tents and having them prostitutes and putting needles in their arms. And you seen it in that movie with Liam Nielsen. He had to go save his daughter because they were doing that human trafficking. So the spirit of slavery is back. That's a form of fucking slavery. Because you've been taken away and all you are is a commodity, man. You're a product. And a lot of you people, man, you finna be slaves in America when all hell break loose in this motherfucker. A lot of your neighbors gonna fold on you. They just found one white bitch. She was in the basement tied up. Some dude had her tied up. They got a lot of women who end up going missing. A lot of children, a lot of little kids. What you think? It's either they're dead or they somewhere enslaved like a motherfucker. Somewhere in it. They had one Spanish dude. He had the whole basement reinforced to make sure that she couldn't get away. And he had multiple victims. There's a lot of these things going on right now, but it's gonna be on a mass level. Cause according to the Bible, ain't nothing wrong with no damn slavery. Ain't nothing wrong with no slavery. Slavery is what a punishment, it's a judgment. It's a punishment for what? Disobedience. That's the only reason we went into captivity, for our disobedience, or breaking the laws and statutes. And then you got this fucking so-called white man and his madness, his monkey madness, talking about we are all slaves. No, motherfucker, we ain't all slaves, and we ain't come from no damn animals like you devils want to make it seem. You came from a fucking well, you came from a human being, but you got a spirit of a beast. That's why the Lord calls you, compare you to, you're a beast. You hairy red monkey. That's all Esau is, man. A degenerate. Trying to put itself in our sufferings. Like he went through the cargo slave ships. Like he was beaten. Like he was raped. Like his family was separated and divided and destroyed. Like we went through. Nah. The scripture says no one went through the sufferings that we went through. So, but pretty soon they gonna go through it. They gonna go through it. And Esau, his main thing is to remove this out of history, because he's ashamed of it. The scriptures talk about shame shall cover thee, and he's ashamed of his history. So he tried to change it in the books. This is a couple years ago they had this book where Esau talking about the Atlantic slave trade between the 1500s and 1800s. It says brought millions of workers from Africa. Like niggas was on the west coast of Africa waiting for a work permit to come work in America, to come get their ass whooped, to get put on a fucking cargo slave ship to come get their ass whooped. We was waiting on a work permit to come work. They done lost their mind. I'm reading again. The Atlantic slave trade between the 1500s and the 1800s brought millions of workers from Africa to the southern United States to work on agricultural plantation. These devils are crazy. Publisher apologizes over comments about slavery in the textbooks. He should, because it's clearly out of order and out of context, man. Trying to make it look like we came here willingly to work and get beaten and mistreated and oppressed. For what? For work. Like there was no work back home. These people are fucking insane. Read the book of Jeremiah 15:2. Because Everything that happened was for a reason, man. The Lord put a punishment upon us, and the punishments that happen to us, they about to happen to the other nations. Like it tell you in the book of Deuteronomy 30 and 7th chapter. The curse is going to spread. And here was one of the curses, man. Jeremiah 15 and 2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. You gotta realize, man, it's a number of people in this place right now here in Babylon the Great. Your ass either about to be numbered to the slaughter, you about to go through that famine, the death, or you going straight into captivity. Either when that martial law comes, they gonna snatch your ass up, put you in concentration camps, put you in these extermination centers. That's what we call them. It's either you comply and take their MOTB, or they gonna execute you. That's what it's gonna come down to very soon. It's either you gonna bow down to their system, or they're gonna execute you. And if you bow down to their system, the Lord's gonna execute you. So that's why it's all about having faith, man. And if you're not part of the elect, there's really nothing you could do to change your outcome of your future. Like it says, I'm reading it again. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith Yahweh, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. Yeah, man, I had put in captivity, and look what they came, it popped up, a lion. It says, captive is the state of being captive, of being imprisoned or confined. The word derives from the late Middle English captivitas, the Latin captivus, and capere, meaning to seize, to take, which is also the root of the English word capture. Yeah, that's what's about to happen. You about to be living in a society where if you don't comply with the laws and statutes and the mandates, man, they're going to come looking for you, just like in Canada. They're going to come looking for you. If you don't answer your so-called phone thing that they send you within a so-called amount of time, they're going to come look for you to what? To put your ass into motherfucking captivity, to imprison your ass until you comply or agree with whatever they're doing. And if you don't, pretty soon it's going to be an execution thing, man. I'm going to read the book Isaiah 59 and 19. It says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. That's what the enemy about to flood. They about to come in with the force of the military. That's what's about to happen, man. Because they have an agenda. They have an agenda. They're not going to go back to so-called regular that these so-called people are looking for. These so-called sheeples are looking for. Businesses is not going to be fully open unless you have that. It's not going to be fully open to you unless you are partaking in that mandated vaccine. If you don't have this shot right now in certain cities, man, you can't even go in a fucking restaurant. You can't go in a grocery store. You can't hop on public transportation. You about to be straight cut the fuck out of society. And they're not just gonna let you walk around. Oh yeah, those are the people who don't want to do it, man. They're gonna come get your ass. They're gonna come and imprison you. And if you don't agree with what they say and bow down to that MOTB, they're gonna put you to death. I'm gonna read it again, Isaiah 59 and 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. The Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And that's what we're going to need, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to put a spirit on us to defend ourselves against these fucking devils, man. Because the scriptures say what? This Revelation 12 and 12, it says, Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. That's why he gonna flood your ass. The Lord gonna give this devil a green light to put a certain amount of people on earth to death, especially here in Babylon the Great. He's gonna give that green light, man. He's gonna come in these little black and Hispanic brown neighborhoods and Native American neighborhoods, and he's not gonna have no mercy. He's not gonna spare none. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And his time is very short, man.